jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
First in the building, Big Blunts and Boxing on deck. The GOAT has arrived. Combat, what's the deal, OG? Salute to your family. What's good with the Blunts? Hot Grease comeback. I listened to the first 2 minutes and thought to myself, Cheyenne still out here making mistakes. It's how that one drummer got started because he misspoke. I'm going to speak on this. I'm going to give my take on it. Mr. Pass on deck, what's good? Interested to hear you dissect it all. This doesn't really need dissecting, but you know, I'll do what I can. You know what I'm saying? Because we're dealing with Teddy Atlas here. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go through some audio clips for you all to listen to, so people can get their own perspective. This is a WCS Hot Grease reaction. And I will be doing a reaction to the recent video Blueblood Sports put out to basically highlight himself being addressed subliminally by Teddy Atlas. If you don't know who Teddy Atlas is, well, you need to find out because he's been around boxing for quite some time. And he's been known to be a bit outlandish. You know what I'm saying? He's been known to say some incredible things that's people, you know, consider him to be a bit complex or unique in nature. That's been Teddy Atlas. You watched him in some of his fights, especially with Michael Moore. He was going through the extreme time. I got your kid on the phone. I got your wife on the phone. You know, he's telling me, you need to be a fireman. You need to be a fireman. Duh. If I need to be a fireman, go get me an axe then. I end this fight real quick. You know what I'm saying? He's been known to be Mr. Ad-Lib himself. But first of all, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-side official. No negotiation needed. Best believe it. You know what I'm saying? Samuel on deck. What's good? Don Vaughn on deck. So I want to get to some audio clips just to give you a roundabout feel on why this even took place with Blue responding to Teddy Atlas. You have to look at it from a perspective of analytics, man. What are the analytics that are out here for us as content creators? Once you put out information on YTC, it's a lot of people can do reactions to it. A lot of people steal your shit. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Steal your content. They're out there. You know what I'm saying? They won't give you no credit for it, but you know, it happens. But most of all, what I'm trying to say out here in the YTC, there's a lot of links that are passed around. And if you're out here as a content creator, no matter what level you are in boxing, and you are speaking out here to the people, you are subjected to someone collecting and redistributing your words. It's gonna happen. You're gonna find somebody that's going to archive and reciprocate what you said. It's just at a point right now where some of these individuals that have these numbers, they can say what they want to say. Teddy Atlas is one of those individuals. He feels that he can say what he want to say because he didn't think nobody will go behind him, or he chooses to believe that no one will have enough cojones to even think about going behind him because he has been in the sport of boxing for a long time and he can pretty much say anything he want. You know what I'm saying? Anything he want. Even though if it's considered a bit gibberish, you know what I'm saying? You're still, you know, open to subjective criticism, objective criticism. So I want to take you through the first half of why Blueblood was reacting to what Teddy Atlas said in reference to him being in Vegas. I remember listening to this, right? And Canelo attempted to act like he didn't know any English. And you know, I just thought that, I mean, you know, when I was listening to it, I was just thinking about, was it a moment where the question was relevant or irrelevant? Was the question relevant or irrelevant? Now, this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm always going to slice it however I feel like slicing this shit, right? This is the first thing I said when I heard the shit. Was it relevant or irrelevant? Because Canelo was fighting. It was media week. He was right there. Was the question asked? You know what I'm saying? Or the statement made, so to speak. Because he asked Canelo what he thought about it, and Canelo tried to act like he didn't understand English. He absolutely did. But was it relevant enough for the statement that Teddy Atlas made to be reciprocated at that moment during fight week? Was it relevant? Let me let you listen to the audio and then we can speak on it. All right. I want you to listen to Teddy Atlas' take on him addressing a subject name content creator, which he's talking about Blueblood Sports. All right.
These pundits, these writers, they're not honest, some of them. Some are. Some like Kevin Iole, but there's other guys that they're just not. And they want.
He said writers. On the YTC, you do have people that can write, you know what I'm saying? That'll be include myself, but I it's so scarce right now. But he said writers. Now, writers can be individuals that put out content and, you know, just like on the YTC, and they can call them writers, so to speak. In this case, you know, all I would do is suggest that you continue to listen.
Want to spark it up. They want to, like my son says, they want to get clickbait for their article, for their, you know, whatever they have going, their chat.
Okay, so we've heard this a lot, right? Especially from Blue. Blue at one point in time, and this is not the Blue bashing session. This is reaction. Blue has been on record, has believed in the same, having the exact same mentality as Teddy Atlas, believing somebody's trying to get clickbait and all this other shit. When they forget about what this is all about. This is all about content. If we talk about boxing the same way, it's not enough content to even talk about. It's not enough important content that people say, oh, I'll talk about this because it's going to do great numbers. I mean, it's way more fighters out there that never get talked about. But Teddy Atlas goes into a rant, a diatribe about these writers, these pundits. They do things for clickbait. And if it was your son, which you say it was your son, right? Okay, your son, along with everybody else, retrieved that information from where there, Teddy? He retrieved it from the same place that many of us has retrieved that content. It was on Media Week. It was on Media Week. You know, we saw a lot of things happen, especially with Blue being checked by Errol Spence. I didn't hear you talking about that. I didn't hear anything said about that. I didn't hear about the writers, the pundits doing it for clickbait and all that. I didn't hear you speak on that. But when somebody mentioned your name based off what you were saying, Teddy, you cannot say the pundits doing stuff for clickbait. I despise of that shit. I despise of the content creators who say it because they're not important themselves. It's content at the end of the day. Everybody cannot speak on content the same, period. But everybody want to act like they have this level, this volume of clout, and they don't. Teddy Atlas don't have this volume of clout like that. People will listen to what you say if they've had their cup of coffee and maybe pop a Valium or two. You know what I'm saying? A perk, goddamn, have some hookah next to him, some freaking vape pen or something. It can get a little bit tough. Let's continue to listen to Teddy because it seems like he's using the same platform we using, but yet he's attempting to separate himself and say that these people are using it for clickbait. I'm gonna let you listen. I'm gonna let you listen to 2 sets of audio. This is just based off his reaction on what was told to him by his son, and of course he reviewed it, and he didn't want to say the name. You know, WCS, I like using names because it's identity. You're addressing the identity. It's not, oh man, speak around in circles. You know, Teddy, nobody's going to get rich just because you mention their names. Nobody's going to get rich.
I don't know, their webpage, whatever it is. They want to get more. They want to make it juicier. They want to get more hits. So when a pundit or a writer, whoever he was, goes up and it's a thing going all over the place, a clip, and he goes up and he says to Canelo before his fight with Charlo, day before, whatever, when he's in a certain space of mind, it just wasn't right. He goes up to him and says, what do you think about Teddy Atlas saying that you are the most overrated Mexican fighter of all time? Of all time in the history of all time. You are the
Who
most
said that? Who said that? I didn't see
right.
that.
I wouldn't even give him the benefit of saying his name because you know why? He don't deserve
you've never
it.
said that. You've never said that.
That's right.
At least give a freaking accurate
That's
quote.
the point.
You never said that he's the most overrated.
No, all I said, I'm not backing down. Homie, don't play that. Teddy don't play that.
Teddy don't play that. You hear that, Blue? Now, for you, Blue, I explained that this nesting egg, this whole entire freaking waterway. I call it a waterway because it's a constant stream back and forth. They call it streams. You know what I'm saying? This waterway of media dissemination. Blue, you have been known to exacerbate certain information. And words mean everything. The tongue is a sword to life and death, brother. When you're going up here quoting somebody and saying that he's the most overrated Mexican fighter of all time, did Teddy actually say of all time, or is it just you once again exaggerating what you heard him say and then what you wanted people to believe he said? Because if you tell somebody I said that you was the worst channel of all time, but if I say you was the worst channel on YouTube of this era, that's not saying you're the worst channel of all time, because really no one knows what an era is. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you're gonna say Teddy said you was the worst Mexican fighter of all time, you know what I'm saying? If you exaggerated it, just it can get rounds, you're guilty of that shit. You're guilty of bloviating the point. You're guilty of not staying within the integrity. If there's any integrity that we use on YTC, you know what I'm saying? It's basically going off your independent integrity, not just YTC, because it's hardly no integrity out here. But when it comes to a person in general, the character, the FICO score that you give yourself as far as integrity, that's where it comes into play on what you actually said to Canelo. Teddy has said some outlandish shit. I ain't gonna lie. And if he put stuff out there for people, you know what I'm saying? I would have said exactly what he mentioned. But if you said overrated Mexican fighter of all time, and he did not use those words, because those are very sharp, caustic type accusations to place on somebody that you know. Teddy Atlas said this about Canelo Alvarez. I'm talking about the top dog right now of Mexican fighters of this era. If you went out there and just, you know, and made it seem like that, hey, Teddy said this. We're gonna get back to it though. But you have to have some integrity, Blue. You have to quote these people for what they say. You cannot feel that you can take what you do. You know what I'm saying? I always told my kids, what you do in the house is going to bleed over to what you do in real life. If you continue to do certain things like exacerbating the point on the YTC, it's going to bleed over out there into the real world, because this is what you're getting used to. This is what you believe to get a certain moment of views and attention, so to speak. So you want to exacerbate what was actually said. And that right there is, a lot of people is not going to respect that. But you have some people that don't care about it because they're doing the same thing you're doing.
I don't back down, but what I am saying is get it right. Be honest. And what I'm saying is I don't even know the guy's name, because I wouldn't even take the time to find out, because he's not worthy of my time. What I am saying, I know what he's doing.
First of all, Teddy, you're speaking on it. And I can understand why you're speaking on it, because it makes you look incredibly bad. It makes you look real bad. I understand why you're speaking on it. I don't too much agree with speaking on what somebody said without mentioning their name. Yeah, will he get a bit more attention from you mentioning his name? Yeah. But name me how many people before him have mentioned your name. They haven't gotten richer off your name there, Teddy. You know what I'm saying? They haven't got richer off your name. These people all believe they have this hierarchy, that they're making people more relevant than what they really are. You know what I'm saying? What's the track record? Give us a roster. Help us understand who you brought to fame and glory. You know what I'm saying? If you say somebody's name and it's pissed you off this much, then people will know who the heck you're talking about. Don't say you don't know his name, because you definitely know his name. You know exactly who he is. If you are going to be outspoken the way you are, then expect people to basically check you behind that or react to what you said. You know what I'm saying? But I can understand why you feel some type of way. You were highly critical of Canelo. But you're saying, if I'm highly critical of Canelo, that doesn't mean you have the right to go up here and exacerbate my words. Just because you're trying to give the people a more sharper point of what you believe Teddy Atlas was trying to say, that gets people in trouble. That truly does get people in trouble, Blue. Real talk, bro. That gets people in trouble. You know, the one thing I'll say about Teddy is that I know he probably know a lot of people, and I know he's probably still upset because you know it was Canelo Alvarez, but Mr. Atlas, you are not without liability, because you've been extremely critical of Canelo, period.
He's doing what my son tells me. He's getting clickbait. He juiced it up. He lied. He fabricated. He added to it. What I said, if you're going to be accurate, be accurate. You want to quote me accurately. You freaking, you two set, whatever you are. Quote me accurately. I wouldn't read a freaking bazooka bubblegum thing from you. If you gave me a bazooka bubblegum thing from the rap.
And this is where it gets a little gooey for me. Hearing him talk about the old school bazooka bubblegum that I used to partake in as a kid. They was like 1 cent growing up, and they only held their flavor for probably 15 to 20 seconds. I'm just being honest, right? But just to hear Teddy Atlas attempt to say he wouldn't read up it was almost like that bazooka gum, which it was known to do. That bazooka gum is slash adhesive. You chew that shit for 15 to 20 seconds, that shit can stick to anything. You know what I'm saying? You chew a whole freaking I say 1,000 pieces of bazooka and throw it in a trash can, and goddamn go out there in the ocean and dump that shit in a whale's mouth. I guarantee you that whale is not going to be eaten for a long time, because that shit's going to stick. And that whale going to be like, they're going to say, what's wrong with that mother? That bazooka gum, that adhesive, that shit's going to goddamn stick even in ocean water. Just like it did with Teddy Atlas just now. He was trying, and his mouth was reminding him of how goddamn sticky that bazooka gum is. He was like, come on, Teddy. Come on.
I wouldn't even read that. I would be afraid that you fraudulated it. You say
Fraudulated it. You know me and words. I love looking up words. Let me see if that's even a word, Teddy. Formulated. I see formulated. I don't see formulated. Maybe I need I cannot say that E is going to be there. I need to change that vowel to a U, add an L and another vowel T, another vowel E, D, and it's not giving me any type of results. So let's just say the bazooka gum also have some psychological hallucinants in it, some mind alterant type of drug, so to speak, medication in lighter terms. Because, Teddy, you're looking a little shaky there, buddy. You're looking a little shaky.
Say it accurately. What I accurately said was that Canelo, really good fighter, but when you start saying that he's the greatest Mexican of all time in a country that had a history, a legacy of great, great fighters that have fought. It's not his fault. They fought greater fighters because they were around during that time. You disrespect them. You disrespect the truth of the sport when you go and say he's the greatest of all time. All I'm saying is he's overrated in that context. In that context, he is overrated. He is a really good fighter, but he is not greater than those fighters that I said. And then some of them are calling him the greatest fighter, period. So he's greater than Sugar Ray Robinson, who had 200 fights, whatever he had. And I mean, he's greater than him. Robinson, I think, had 120 fights with only one loss. I think his first loss was Jake LaMotta, who he came back and beat 5 more times. And Jake LaMotta was a great fighter. I think Jake LaMotta beat him when he was about 50 or somewhere in that neighborhood. And then he went on a string of another 50 wins before he lost again against great fighters back then. Great fighters. So all I'm saying is, if you're going to quote me, try to be honest, but you can't be honest, can you? Because you get carried away with wanting to get more attention. And you went up to Canelo, and Canelo, I don't blame him. I really don't. I don't hold no angst against him. I don't blame him. I think sometimes, he could check with someone and say, how did he really say that? Did he really? I would think that he maybe could do that. But hey, I'd get mad too if a guy came up to me and just said that way, that Teddy Atlas said that you were the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. No, but again, he was looking to get a reaction. that he would get, that he would be part of, that would serve him. He wanted, and the only way he could get that kind of reaction was to fabricate, was to add a lie to a quote that was not that quote. But at the end of the day, that's where it comes from. He's overrated in that context. And now you're going to say, oh, for this win, you're going to say that, oh, yeah, now, we better create a new Hall of Fame. We better start building. We better start getting cinder blocks. And, well, cinder blocks, you have to get marble. If you're going to build a Hall of Fame for him, it's got to be marble. It can't be made in cinder blocks. That would be beneath his greatness. So, look, we have a little fun with it. I take the attacks but that's fine. That's your prerogative. That's your right. But don't say I'm biased, and don't change my words. Use them properly.
Well, that's the back end of the plea for help from Teddy Atlas to address Blueblood. And Blueblood, you know that you're extremely on the high side when it comes to culpability of exaggerating. You are, man. You know what I'm saying? I know you soak this up, and this has become who you chose to be. Now, when these kids are out here, I told people plenty of times that kids be out here getting involved. You know what I'm saying? They this their parents, okay? They get involved in seeing who's saying what and this, that, and the other. And you have individuals that was actually there that have no problem with throwing these links around and basically, I wouldn't say stabbing you in the back, but they'd be the ones right there beside you pushing these links around. It happens on here all the time. It happens out there at media scrums and all that. If you say something controversial and somebody might be there, because it's usually somebody that knows some of everybody. And they will send that link to them and they will timestamp it. They will timestamp that shit. And they will listen to this right here. And then that person totally understands that, hey, this is what was said about you. I want you to listen to something else that Teddy Atlas said to a different group, a different set of panel. All right. This is going to be interesting. I want you to listen to this next one. Let's see. Listen to Teddy. And this was like 7 days ago before the fight. He has a panel that consists of Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi. Check this out now.
Twice, Canelo. You lost twice to Triple G. First time, second time too. I don't care what you say. And then you probably lost to Lara. And you got dominated by Mayweather and Bivol. And do I have to go any further? I mean, that's 4 or 5 losses if we're going to really be fair about this. If you come, you're messing with a star.
Algieri. So, Teddy, we're talking a little bit about Canelo. And, at Pro Box, we really want the fans to interact. So when we do these shows, fans leave comments. And I've been reading a lot of them. And you have struck a nerve with a lot of Canelo fans. I think there's no doubt that he's slipped. He's admitted that he slipped. But you've also said that he's overrated. And, Teddy, the Canelo fans are just, they're in an uproar.
There's no wrath like the wrath of a Mexican fight fan.
And Teddy, they come out there and Teddy's biased against Canelo. Well, let's talk about Canelo. And because you have said he is overrated. My question to you is he overrated in a historical sense, or is he overrated for the fighter he is today?
Well, let me get right to the point. All right. You fans out there that are going nuts, going a little crazy. All right, no problem. It's obviously your prerogative to think what you think, as it's mine to think what I think. There's no hating here. There's no bias here. Please stop. I've been around 154 years. I used to call fights on ESPN.
Teddy, just get to the point. I'm going to fast forward some of this because I'm just not here to hear. I'm just not here to listen to the long standing history. You know what I'm saying? The freaking Teddy Atlas time machine of how long he believes he's been living. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be clipping this and going forward just to get to the point.
And where I didn't exactly like some of the people that were in the corner, but as a fight person, as a professional, you want to, you care about your reputation. You care about saying things that are not attached to anything personal, just professional, just what you believe, because your reputation is going to stay a lot longer than you're going to stay. So I take that very serious. So I'm not saying anything based on anything other than what my judgment. Doesn't mean I'm right, but that's what my judgment. I'm going to go right to it. Greatest, when you say his place historically. All right. So we're going to go with Mexican fighters, the greatest of Mexican fighters of all time. Some of them are pushing them in there. Listen to these names.
So I want to make this perfectly clear. Just because Teddy Atlas is going through a list of names, he's naming off some top Mexican fighters that he pretty much place higher value, give them a higher praising value than Canelo Alvarez. And this is his legitimate assessment. That's his own personal opinion, his legitimate assessment on what he thinks, as long as he's been in the game. One thing you cannot extract or expunge from Teddy Atlas, freaking boxing experience, his tenure that's attached to the sport as a trainer and everything, is the fact that he's been a part of the sport. He's been around it for a long time, a long time. So in this sequence right here, he's about to give you some names of fighters who he believe that are higher on the chain of command when it comes to boxing history, when it comes to achievement, accolades, and so forth.
I'll even put my glasses on to make sure I get it right. All right, here it is. Julio Cesar Chavez, Ruben Olivares, Salvador Sanchez, Baby Arizmendi, Carlos Cervantes, Vincent Salvador, Saldivar, Manuel Ortiz, Ricardo Lopez Jr., Lopez, Raton Macias, Baby Casanova. That some of you fight fans out there, some of them I'm going to take a chance. You don't even know who they are. So before you go nuts, all right, you don't even know who these guys are. Check them out. See who they fought. See how many fights. See their longevity. See how great they were. And then go to the modern era. I didn't even get there. Juan Marquez, Eric Morales, Antonio Barrera, and then a guy named Canelo. All right. That you're going to tell me that Canelo, if you do your proper work and you understand that these fighters' place in history, what their resumes are, if you understand that, you're going to tell me that Canelo belongs on the top or near the top of that? No, I'm sorry. No, I don't think he belongs on the top of them modern day fighters. Juan Marquez and Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales. Maybe you push him up there above Morales. Maybe, but I don't think so, because Morales, the fighters that he has fought and he fought are just better, and the way that he performed with them. You lost twice, Canelo. You lost twice to Triple G. First time, second time too. I don't care what you say. And then you probably lost to Lara. And
see, this is what I see with Teddy Atlas, right? When it comes to old school boxing heads like Teddy Atlas, I'm not saying he's absolutely wrong on everything he's saying. If he believes, some of those names are big tier names. When people sit up here trying to put Canelo as the best Mexican fighter, period, no, that's not true. It ain't no way in hell that you are competent when you say that. And there's no way that you are comprehending the magnitude of what these fighters went through from the old school, up to the new school. I mean, it's a difference in all of that. And you know, yes, the Mexican fans have Canelo Alvarez as their savior, no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying that pretty much Canelo Alvarez is overrated when it comes to some of the best names attached to history. That's what I gather from Teddy Atlas saying he's overrated when it comes to that. But when you want to add the 4-letter word ever, you know what I'm saying? When you put that in there, ever, you're basically saying you're the most overrated fighter ever amongst every Mexican fighter that has somewhat of a name. And that's just flat out wrong. That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You cannot just go over here and exaggerate all the time because you're used to blowing up balloons, man. You can't do that shit. It can't be a goddamn carnival all the time when you just find topics and you're just like, yeah, I bet I'm gonna get some attention from this. This is gonna gain traction big time. And you're used to blowing up balloons by your mouth. You're blowing up balloons with your mouth. You're bloviating freaking topics and saying ever. When you put ever on the back end of overrated, it changes everything, bro. Everything. That's just like me saying you lie about everything. You don't lie about everything, but if I was to put that out there that Blue lies about everything, that's saying you have no credibility at all. None. None at all. Yes, Teddy Atlas said some shit. Yes, he's a pretty much a eccentric type of dude. You know what I'm saying? He's sort of a misfit, if you want to look at it that way. Yes, he is. He's a misfit when he comes to voicing his opinion. But he's been around boxing for quite some time, and also he's doing nothing different than what we do on the YTC. He's voicing his opinion, and yes, it's going to be grainy a bit. It's going to give you that foggy, that fog of war. You know what I'm saying? Type of clarity. You're gonna have to sift through some of the shit he say. But what we know as far as adults is comprehension. We know how to pretty much understand and interpret English. And certain words that zip things up are lethal. They're very toxic. And when you say ever for a fight of Canelo's magnitude, if you put that out there and say, Teddy Atlas said, how do you think, what do you think about, excuse me, what Teddy Atlas said that you're the most overrated Mexican fighter ever? Did he say ever, or did he say he overrated comparable to the names that he had on that list? If he compared him to be overrated to the names he had on the list, that is not extending it far and beyond to say ever. Into you know, from the test of time, from here all the way back, ever he's the most overrated. That means Canelo is pretty much, he hasn't did anything in his career, which we know he has.
You got dominated by Mayweather and Bivol. And do I have to go any further? I mean, that's 4 or 5 losses. If we're gonna really be fair about this, there's no doubt how influential he's been. That he's been the goose that's laid the golden eggs. That he's brought massive numbers to the pay-per-view. That he's helped other fighters that are fighting him, like Ali did back in the day. If you fight him, you get paid more. Like Tyson did. If you fight him, you get paid more. No, he did all those things. And I'll tell you something else. No doubt that he's improved. He got better over the years. He did. He got better. But to put him at the top of the heap with the great tradition of Mexican fighters, the ones that I just mentioned, no, that is blasphemy. You lost twice, Canelo. You lost twice to Triple G. First time, second time too. I don't care what you say. And then you probably lost to Lara. And you got dominated by Mayweather and Bivol. That he's brought massive numbers to the pay-per-view. He got better over the years. He did. He got better. But to put him wrong, right? That's ignorance. That's just ignorance, because you don't understand what you don't understand. When it comes to rating this particular fighter, and I know the tradition of Mexican fighters, how great it is, how deep it is, and I know how
I did like what Teddy Atlas just said. You don't understand what you don't understand. That's pretty much saying that how can you really have any comprehension on something that you haven't did enough study and research for? You haven't been around it long enough. You don't understand what you don't understand. You don't understand where he was coming from. You don't understand how he was trying to provide you with evidence as to why he said what he said. And yes, Samuel in the chat, I believe he say, people are gonna say, okay, Teddy don't like Canelo Alvarez, or he's being biased and so forth like that. Whenever someone is giving their opinion and it is going to be acutely opposite of positive, right? And it's going to be a bit brash. It's not going to be in favor of that person. It's always going to get that kickback. That's just what it is. It's going to get kickback, man. That's why it's called opinion. Opinion ain't based off fact. Opinions are not based off fact. And some people give their opinions more in depth than others. You know what I'm saying? And it hits home. It hits just a little bit harder. But when you said the most overrated Mexican fighter ever, Blue, come on, bro. You got to do better, man. Because look, I have to call it for what it is. I understand you was in the moment and you was at media scrum or whatever, but you just can't slide those words in there and get on here and defend yourself when there's no defense. You have no defense. If Teddy Atlas did not say he was the most overrated Mexican fighter ever, and then you get an immediate response from Canelo and people start putting that clip out over and over again, you are selling yourself. You have sold yourself short, bro. You have sold yourself so far beneath any line of integrity. The bridge that's over your head, man, that shit is burning. Because you have said, you know what? I don't have to come up here with any integrity no more. I just have to do what I do. I'm gonna set fires. I don't need anybody's help. I'm gonna set fires. That's just what I'm gonna do. I don't care what people think about me. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, regardless if it's the whole truth, partial truth, or no truth at all. I'm just gonna put it out there. Well, that's called lying, bro. That's called lying. You cannot say he said the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. That's saying ever in life, man, since Mexicans have been fighting, and they've been fighting for a long time, just like we have. But when you say ever, bro, and this is not taking shots at it, it's just stupidity, man. It's just another level of ignorance. Just because you have did a reaction to it and you're trying to explain to the people that what you said was absolutely snug. You know what I'm saying? Nuts and bolts. It was snug and it fits right in there to what Teddy Atlas said about Canelo Alvarez. And that's not true. That is absolutely not true, brother. That's not.
How passionate your fans are. I get it. I understand. Oh, by the way, you know what fan is? It's short for fanatic, right? You do understand that. So you are a little crazy. So, and you got the right to be crazy. You got the right to be crazy and to get mad at me. Yeah, because I'm saying that you're beautiful Canelo. Cinnamon, he is not quite as cinnamon as you want him to be out of the mouths of everybody. Okay, that's your right. You could be pissed off. I get it. But I'm just stating again, no bias. No, just just facts. What was that movie? Paulie loves those TV shows and those movies. What was that one years ago? That TV show, Dragnet, with those two detectives. Just the facts, sir.
Just a fact, ma'am.
Just the facts, ma'am. There it is. Chris came through. Just the facts, ma'am.
Well,
I just
there you
watched that
go.
movie last week.
There you go. So that's coming from your mouth, Teddy. There's no bias. This is Teddy's opinion. And by the way, Marquez and Barrera, two of the names you mentioned, they work at ProBox, and I think they might agree with you. But Chris, when you hear those words and you throw the word overrated out, what's your response to what Teddy had to say?
Well, I mean, even with Teddy prefaced it very, very intelligently. He said, "Well, overrated compared to what?" And that's really what you need to talk. You need to have some context with this kind of discussion. Is Canelo a great fighter? Absolutely. Is he an all-time great? I mean, it's hard to say because he's not done yet, right? You really can't rank a guy until his career is truly over. But he's gonna be up there. He's gonna be talked about, and it's not only because of all the titles, but a lot of it's the weight classes, his ability to move up. He's beaten big names as well.
And so far, with Chris Algieri, speaking about context, that's very important to speak on it. Which context are you talking about? Well, Teddy Atlas, we know he's speaking in context. What he put out there to the public was in his context and what his assessment is, his observation, and a guy that trains fighters. A trainer is going to have a different perspective than an onlooker or bystander. You have to take that in consideration. You know what I'm saying? Blue, I hear you talk about how you confused and stuff like that. You say that all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm confused. And a lot of times, like when you put yourself in these situations, it is confusing that you're incapable of figuring out this before others do. If you're going to speak on something and you feel like someone's coming at you, you should be able to figure this out. It doesn't take no in-depth troubleshooting. You should be able to have competence when it comes to this. You should be able to comprehend this shit and figure out, okay, was I wrong or was I not wrong? What was I wrong or was I not wrong by what I did? If you feel that you're confused and you don't see any type of liability, and you feel that, hey, all I need to do is go up here and talk about it because it's buzzing right now. Teddy Atlas, I want to make it seem like it puts you out there as having an ego, bro. It puts you out there as having an ego, and you're willing to sacrifice anything just to get the clicks and views. Now I told you, I don't like when people say, okay, we just doing shit for clicks and views, because that shit bleed over to everybody, the YTC that's not doing it for that. But for you, you've had too many moments where it's almost like, okay, you don't care about any type of integrity no more. You don't care about how people perceive you as a content creator no more. It's all about with you saying what you say and then acting like you didn't say it. This is becoming a norm. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and then when somebody have a problem with what I said, well, I'm gonna go over here and do a live on it and try to convince people who are totally intelligent enough to figure it out. But the only person that's confused is you, Blue. You're confused and you're pretending like you can't figure it out, but you can figure it out. But you're going to get on here and do 3 or 4 lives on the same topic, the same freaking topic, as if you're trying to convince that Teddy Atlas was wrong for basically subliminally calling you out indirectly based off what you said to Canelo. And did he have a point, Blue? Yeah, he had a point, bro. Yeah, he had a point. Man, you're too old for these type of conversations to be had, because you've taken on this damn persona where you don't feel like you have to explain anything to nobody, and you just sit up here and say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't get what you're saying. Did I do this? No, you're basically jeopardizing. You've already fragmented whatever shield of integrity that you thought you had. You know what I'm saying? Whatever shield of integrity that you might have been wearing on your chest, that is no longer relevant. It has no value. There's no honor system to what you got going. Sometimes some of the shit you put out here, man, it just takes little research to make sure. But yet and still, if somebody puts something out before you want to call it fake news. And I'm saying to you, Blue, if you're so quick to try to call fake news on somebody else, why don't you take that energy that you're using to call somebody else's news fake and just go a little bit more in depth as to a topic that you're about to put out like this, and see if it really deals with ever. See, can you hear the word? You know what I'm saying? If you can hear the word, yes, we're going to play semantics on this because this is extremely important. See, can you hear the word ever? Ever. because then you have something to let the fans know. The thrill is different now. You can play the audio where it says different, not semantics, not this exacerbated freaking assumption that you had to say, well, this is what he meant. No, man. That's not it. This is not something that you're gonna consider self-proclaim. If Blue said it's self-proclaimed that you meant he was the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. When you put ever on there, man, it changes the entire scope of perception. You should know that. You've been living long enough, brother. You know this shit.
Yeah, sure. He definitely has his losses. You'd mentioned the modern day errors. You mentioned Juan Manuel Marquez, who honestly at this point I would rate above Canelo as well. But you mentioned losses, Teddy. Marquez has 7 losses. He got dominated by Mayweather as well. But it happened to Mayweather. It happened to Canelo when he was 23 years old or 22 years old. A lot of, the Lara fight was very early on as well. As 23 years old, man, you gotta tip your hat to him when he did that. And granted, not all of them were top guys, but he had the it was during the pandemic. He had the Callum Smith, super dangerous guy, and he made him look very ordinary. Then you had Yildirim, just to keep busy fight, but he did what you're supposed to do with a guy like that. Billy Joe Saunders.
Okay, we hear Chris Algieri trying to stake a claim on Canelo greatness. And Canelo, when it comes to the amount of money he's gotten, he had to do something worthwhile. And I think, yes, Canelo being Mexican has a lot to do with it. Not just being Mexican, but when he went in there and fought Gennady the way he did in the first fight and the second fight, that earned a lot of fans. You know what I'm saying? Because both fighters had their own fan base. But the Mexican fan base are tight. They're extremely, they have this camaraderie. They have this loyalty. A Mexican fighter, it can be a Mexican fighter that really don't fuck with Canelo like that. But Canelo's going in there against a Russian fighter or a black fighter or any other, you know what I'm saying? They would quickly say, I'm going with Canelo in this. I don't need to explain to you why I am. I'm going with Canelo. But you said you didn't like Canelo. Yeah, I know, but I'm going for him now. In this particular matchup because he's Mexican. I've seen it happen. I went through this. I've seen and heard this as much times fight parties I was into in the military, and we really is knee deep in fight parties. We are very loyal to fight parties. But when you think about what Chris Algieri is talking about, and he's calling off these names at the 168-pound division. If you're going to mention a Callum Smith, how do the general public view Callum Smith? Do they look at him as a great? Do they look at him as being this great? Just because he had a belt doesn't mean he's a great. How is his record and his body of work rated when it's scrubbed from top to bottom? You know what I'm saying? How is his body of work rated? What grade are they giving this man? What grade? Billy Joe Saunders. What grade is they giving Billy Joe Saunders? Really? What grade? What happened to him after Canelo beat him? I mean, we got to keep the same energy. We have fighters that fight these champions. They're no longer the same. What happened to Billy Joe Saunders? Did he go the distance or did he quit on the stool? If you're going to mention Billy Joe Saunders, do anyone consider him to be a great fighter? So if no one considering him to be a great fighter, then you have to pick and choose. Okay, was he a tough fighter? Was he a durable fighter? Was he a top-rated fighter? Was he respected? Who did his best wins? What was Billy Joe Saunders' best wins? And then you got to ask the same about Caleb Plant. It gets a little shaky. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about Jose Uzcategui. Most people can't even, remember the guy, but Caleb Plant will because he won the title. Do people consider Caleb Plant to be great? Has he stepped in there with some big names and got it done? You know what I'm saying? Just because he knocked out Anthony Durrell, do that put Caleb Plant over the moon? Or are people going to look at what happened with him stepping in there with Canelo Alvarez to defend his IBF title? The fact he was in there conversing with him. You know what I'm saying? People felt that he lost focus. He wasn't as locked in once he was under the bright lights. What about his fight with David Benavidez? What happened? Throw a combination and hold. I mean, did he get the win over David Benavidez? It's just a lot of questions to be asked when it comes down to Canelo making history. Yes, he was able to become 168 pounds super middleweight undisputed world champion. But if we're gonna critique these other fighters and we're gonna go line for line, we have to do that for Canelo too. We do. And also we have to understand that he popped positive for clenbuterol. That's not a rumor. That is absolutely real. And if it plays a factor in a lot of other fighters or freaking athletes, then why would Canelo get mad if someone asked him, well, do you think your legacy would be a bit more is a bit tarnished based off, the time that you pop positive for clenbuterol? If Canelo Alvarez get mad at that, then that's him harvesting guilt as far as, popping dirty and then having Mauricio Suleiman come to his freaking rescue. But back to the topic at hand, when it comes down to words, come on, man. We've been living long enough to know this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? That shit isn't organic, man. When you continue to inject words to make a point, and you're overemphasizing something in a community of people that are tuning in, wherever that may be, you have people tuning in, and we always lived in the numeric simulation. But this numeric simulation on the YouTube community is just brutal because people are selling themselves out to meet a quota that's not going to change their life forever. They want to see the numbers go up, and that's like their placebo. They're like, oh my God, they really believe this is changing their life. It's only a Band-Aid, bro. This shit is only a Band-Aid.
Huge fight. Billy Joe's a really tough guy to look at against. No one's really done it. And Canelo breaks his face and blasts him out of there, gets 80,000 people on their feet. I was in the room for that in Dallas. That was awesome. And Caleb Plant, super capable guy, and walks him down, beats him up, gets him out of there. That was another really impressive night, and it was a very impressive run. And then on the tail end of that, we've got 3 fights in a row that were just duds, right? We've got Bivol, he gets dominated, but Bivol he never beats. It's one of those matchups. Triple G, he comes back, but he apparently injures his hand in that. But still, they both look like they phoned it in and were collecting checks. And then he comes back and he fights a very capable John Ryder, who no one looks good against, and he struggles at the end. He gets hit with more punches than you expect, but still dominates. I think there's a lot of harsh talk about Canelo. But yeah, it's all about context. Yeah, is he overrated? Is he the best of all time? No. Is he better than Chavez Sr.? No. Is he, and like you said, Ted, is he better than these modern day era guys? We don't know yet, because a lot of Marquez's greatness comes from that 4th Pacquiao fight. He ices his longtime rival face down, puts him away. That was the icing on the cake of a masterful career, and that really jumped him up. So you gotta look at Canelo after he retires to really take in his career in its totality, because something like that can happen. He can go out there and go ice Charlo, and you're like, whoa, or he gets another, or he goes and beats Benavidez. These are all hypotheticals, of course, but I think he still has a lot to do. So placing his greatness really can't be done yet. And these people who are trying to throw him out there as, he's this or he's that, I mean, like you said, Teddy, that they're fanatics, and that there's always going to be those guys, which is good. You got a good fan base. There's always going to be haters. So that's the nature of the game. That's what boxing is all about. That's what being in the spotlight's all about. But yeah, no, I think we definitely got to give Canelo his credit. He is a great fighter.
Yeah, you know what? I think we have a show where we have a good balance here. A lot of times we agree, a lot of times we disagree, and I think sometimes people get lost in trying to pander to fans and pander to fighters or whatnot. And sometimes we can, be honest with ourselves, and sometimes we can, run it down the middle. Here's where I come in. And I'm glad I got to go last, because me personally, I feel like when I come up with a conclusion in boxing, I break down a lot of things. Teddy, you actually broke it down very well, naming a lot of those old-time Mexican fighters.
And this is where it's at when Teddy named a lot of old-time fighters. You know, he pretty much ziplined into the core of everything to prove his point on why he said Canelo was overrated comparable to them. That is it. That is it when it comes down to it. When you're speaking and when you're going over the top of somebody, you have to go about it in a way, man, that you have to have a certain point of integrity there, Blue. Humility, honor, respect, courage, discipline. And if you're going to place comparisons out there, you have to make sure they're formulated correctly, brother. When you slide just a small word, I've said this before, you notice these 4-character words in the English language are very lethal words. They're very lethal words. The way they secure and zip up people's perception or expressions on what they're trying to say, they're very lethal. And when you put ever on it, like I said before, when you put ever on the end of freaking overrated, it changes the scope of everything, bro. It changes the scope of everything. You have no room to play on here. You can't come over here and you didn't used to be this guy. So I'm saying to myself, like, if you can't see your fault and why Teddy would feel some type of way, because yes, he said what he said, and you can say, okay, well, you know, he feels the way he feels about Canelo. He's being very critical of him, like a lot of people do in boxing. The information and you know the whole body of work is out there to be critiqued all the time. It ain't going nowhere. People have taken notes on this shit, and they're going to continue to evaluate, assess all the time. But if you're going to just leave that out the way, and you're going to quote something Teddy Atlas said when it's before the fight, which in my opinion don't matter. It don't matter if it's before or after fight. It's a media scrum. When Teddy, you have to understand when it comes to us as media, we're gonna go up there and have 1 or 2 moments to speak to the fighters. You know, if all of us stick around post fight to ask some questions, cool. But most of the time, it don't happen. Anyway, when it comes to just presenting him with that information and the stature for which Canelo Alvarez has built up to this point in boxing, Blue, you have to be more cognizant, bro. You have to have some type of thickness to rebuilding your character. You have to have some type of understanding. You have to you know what I'm saying, you just can't basically jettison and throw it away and say, you know what, I don't have to worry about honor. I don't have to worry about honesty. I don't have to worry about integrity no more. You do have to worry about that. I know it's no one to hold you accountable. You know, this YTC is a Serengeti. I say this shit all the time. But if Teddy Atlas did not put ever on the back end of it, brother, who are you to put ever on the back end of it? That's a lie. Ever is saying above all else, above all others, above all else, or what we know about Mexican fighters. You're saying that he mentioned Canelo was the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. That is that's a blatant, flat out lie, bro. He said Canelo was overrated comparable to the names he's mentioned if you're trying to compare him to those names. Because he felt that the names that he's mentioned did more than Canelo. They have a higher FICO score at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? They rate the higher percentage at the end of the day based off their overall encompassing body of work. You may not see it as that, man. You may not see it, you know, that it compromises your self-respect. This YTC has changed. Like, this YTC has people just out here just doing crazy and saying crazy stuff, man. And this is one of those moments, man. It's just so easy to figure out. Like, I know the problem with it, Blue. I know the problem. You are at a point right now where you have chosen to commit to flip it all the way over on the other side. And you know, with that comes controversy. And you're gonna continue to do what you do. You don't care what nobody say. I get it. You don't care what nobody say. But you have to understand the repercussion and consequences that's gonna come along with that. How is very doubtful that more and more people are going to look at, you know, the words or the information that you put out, except, you know, look at it anything more than just gossip. You know what I'm saying? And if your fan base is like that, cool. That's what your fan base consists of. But this was a simple ABC type of deal right here. This wasn't anything extremely difficult to figure out. You got the responses you wanted. But that wasn't the first time we've heard you ask controversial questions. You know what I'm saying? And look, if that's the role you're taking, if that's the costume you want to wear, then so be it. If you want to stay in character all the time, you know, expect these fighters to really look at you crazy and try to continue to keep you outside. They're going to continue to keep you on the outside. You may not feel any way about it. You may be perfectly cool with it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to continue to talk to one another. Word of mouth is lethal, toxic. You know, you get people, hey, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. And, you know, these fighters are going to start using word of mouth. That's going to be their lifeline. That's going to be their method of communication. And they're going to let, you know, these promotions know that, hey, Blue, you know, we don't want him around. You know how it works. You know how it works. So if you feel that, well, that's a the type of travels that you choose to go about, and you don't care about integrity in what you're sitting out here reporting no more, then so be it, brother. But a lot of you cats are not really looking at how this affects, you know, how people look at you personally. This is not just a layer where you're looking at YouTube and then outside of YouTube, I'm this honorable person. No, they're looking at you as a malefactor on YouTube, and then they look at you as a malefactor outside of YouTube. So there's really no separation to this. You know what I'm saying? They look at you as a malefactor on here, and they looking at you as a malefactor outside of this social media realm. And that's bad. That's bad, brother. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's just bad, man. Let's go on and see what Paulie have to say.
There's a lot of fighters that I hadn't even heard of. But in regards to something, when I come down to the conclusion, and I feel like I've really looked into it deep enough to generate a conclusion, and sometimes it's controversial. I know my boxing, and then I get hit with today's beta mentality, which is, he's a racist. I've gotten it from the Filipinos with Pacquiao. I've gotten it from the Mexicans with Canelo, and I've got it from the African Americans and black crowd with certain black fighters like Devin Haney. You know what I do sometimes? I think about, oh man.
And Deontay Wilder.
And these fight people are really, maybe they're right. No, you're wrong, dude. You're wrong. And you know what I do? I double down. Because I know what I'm talking about. I don't take emotion into the process. I talk about what I want, what I know I'm talking about. Okay. And that's not to say nobody can disagree with me, but you got to know how to make valid points as opposed to he's great because he's Filipino, he's great because he's Mexican, or he's great because he's black. That's not going to cut it for me. That's never going to cut it for me. So going the race route is not going to cut it for me. Here's where I come into play with certain opinions. And Chris, you made some good points, champ, as far as a little run that he had where he fought some good fighters. But the top fighters in the history of the sport have chased top fighters in their primes consistently. I feel like Canelo looks for top fighters, doesn't chase them in their primes. He actually looks to avoid them in their primes and then tries to get them at a different point. Now, that doesn't mean that he didn't wind up catching somebody in their prime when he didn't realize it. For sure, he was looking to catch Mayweather late in his career, and he was figuring, you know what, it's a win-win situation because if I win, I beat the top guy pound for pound. And if I lose, I lost to the top guy pound for pound. A little bit of a Conor McGregor situation there, who loves to get his ass beat by everybody at the top, but won't fight anybody else because he can't take a chance on getting his ass beat at a lower level, even though he may not deserve the top fighters. But that was at least Canelo early on. Then he, you know, as he moves along, the Golovkin, the avoiding Golovkin in the rematch after the second fight is almost unforgivable, considering that he probably didn't beat him. On the third fight, he probably didn't beat him either of the first two times. They got that decision and then ran away with it. You know what I'm saying? If he would have lost the second fight, he would have been asking for a third fight, and Golovkin would have probably had to give it to him because there's just so much money on the table. They would have probably fought 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Right away, right at that time. But because he ended up getting the win of Golovkin, he ends up making the guy wait till he's 150 years old and then gives him the third fight. And what you said was basically a dance, and they collected a check. You got to give the guy credit. He is among the greats, I think, as far as the generational fighters that have come along. But then you look at the list Teddy Atlas just gave, and it's like, are we kidding each other? I mean, S.E.M.A.N.T.I.C.S was like 21 years old when he died, right? And he was chasing guys in their prime. I mean, he took out Azuma Nelson on 3 weeks' notice. He knocked out Wilfredo Gomez, who was in his prime as well. I mean,
and he talked about fighting Arguello.
I talked about fighting. Talk about guys chasing guys in their prime. I mean, Salvador Sanchez was like gunning for them. He had a scope on all of everyone.
So what Paulie is talking about, once again, you know, he's dropping some jewels. Paulie will drop them jewels on you it's a full bag. You know what I'm saying? Like you came in there to really spend some money. He'll come up there and flip those bags over and let them diamonds just roll all over the place. You know, he can give you that conversation, but when you occupying a narrative that, you know, is really have people out here up in arms for the wrong reason, you know what I'm saying? Their only course of rules engagement is negativity. You know what I'm saying? Is basically negative responses, meeting fire with fire, obscenities with obscenities. You know what I'm saying? When people listen to you say certain things and say, okay, how simple is it to put this in context? It's very, very simple to put it in context. It's not that difficult to put this shit in context. And I know it's not going to change anything. You know, for a long time, I used to look at this shit, this YouTube, this social media shit, because for a while, I didn't even fuck with YouTube. I'd just rather do the fights, and then, you know, I had a whole lot of shit on my hard drive, and I said, man, why don't I start putting it on YouTube? And I was going live on Facebook, but I always considered people to separate themselves. You know, they're one way on social media, and then they're really another way outside. You know, somewhat two respiratory systems. You know what I'm saying? Two code of conduct, so to speak. You should really, I really thought that's the way it should be with social media, having 2 code of conducts that you live by. Yeah, certain areas that you can just live freely and sporadically on YouTube. Just keep it within good taste. You know what I'm saying? But if you hang out on YouTube or social media long enough, Facebook, IG, things are going to change because not everybody, you know, things are going to change. And then when people get wrapped up, and then you have, just take monetization away, every channel. Will you see all these people on here as much as they are if YouTube wasn't monetized? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't see it on here. You wouldn't see all the controversy to get people to tune in. People say, okay, you show up, you show up. If everything was just based off Cash App, if every donation was just based off Cash App, then it would be a lot less revenue that people would be thinking about. But since the views and the subs and the donations all bundled in this nice little package, and people are so used to every time they go live, you know what I'm saying? It changes things. It puts people in a mentality. It puts them in a bubble to just say, you know what? I'm willing to go to the depths of selling myself out to say whatever I need to say to get controversy at that time. And I don't care if it's temporary controversy, long as it's controversy. I've gained more people during that time of controversy, and I'm going to continue to to have their cloud over me. I don't care. Some people have basically quit whatever they had going on full time in their life to become a full-time social media content creator. And a lot of people make good money off of it. That's not even really my thing. It's just when most of what we see out here, the broken glass everywhere, it comes down to people just not really giving a damn about being honest, you know what I'm saying, having integrity when they go out here. You know, when it comes to their compass, their destination doesn't have anything to do with morals and principles. It's done. But to you, Blue, I think the preponderance of evidence when we look at could you have figured this out yourself when it comes down to putting ever on the back end of it, you're smart enough to know that ever is really gonna raise eyebrows, man, and have people really, you know, feeling a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have a lot more bottled up emotions. They're gonna be a bit more angry and belligerent off hearing that shit. The most overrated fighter ever. That's somewhat similar to Bernard Hopkins, you know, disrespecting the Puerto Rican flag. You know what I'm saying? Now you have Mexican fight fans to look at it like, okay, why did you say that if it's not true? And if you think they're not going to address it to you once they see you again, they are. They're going to address the shit to you, bro. That's Mexican fight fans. They're going to address the shit. That's who they are. They're going to say, man, from looking at your live and looking at Teddy Atlas lives, it seems like you lied. It seemed like once again, you just inserted a word just for traction, just for views and clicks. And I don't like when people say that. But in your case, a lot of people believe, including myself, that you have basically taken on that role and you're willing to wear that character all around, you know, in and out. You willing to just be this person now. It don't matter what you say. You don't care how truth it what it looks like on the truth meter. You don't care about any of that. You just say, okay, I go up here and say what I gotta say, and then try to get on here and explain to people that what is Teddy Atlas saying? You could have said my name, and you could have, brother. You keep saying you confused on your live. Why aren't you confused before you go live? Why aren't you confused before you put information out like that in front of thousands upon thousands that's going to be watching? Why aren't you confused before you go up here and say, hey, what do you think about Teddy Atlas? See, you used the man's name, and the man did not say he was the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. Come on, Blue, man, you gotta do better, bro. Serious, man. There's no vantage point that you have. I'm not trying to sit up here and go back and forth with you either. It's not even, it ain't worth my time to green like this situation. It just, when you look at it, it's so simple to figure out. Like if you would say, what do you have to say about Teddy Atlas said that you're overrated Mexican fighter compared to these names right here? If you would have gave him 5 names, if you would have, because you look, Blue, it takes me nothing to break this shit down. If you would have gave him the same type of procedure that you love to do when you announce these fighters and their record, their height, their reach, their eye color, hair texture, skin tone, that whole little protocol that you go through, why couldn't you give him the 5 fighters that he mentioned off that? If that was your plan to get that moment, that window, and say, Canelo, what do you feel about Teddy Atlas saying you're overrated comparable to these 5 names right here? Then Canelo would have said, okay, these those are great guys. You know what I'm saying? And he might have said Teddy has his opinion. You know what I'm saying? He has his opinion on that. It doesn't mean it's true, but he has his opinion. But those guys right there, I respect them. I got respect for them. Then it would have been different. But when you say Teddy Atlas said you're the most overrated Mexican fighter ever, there's nothing for Canelo to basically bounce anything off of when it comes to his response. Like he's looking for a way to say, how can I respond in the most respectful manner. And he responded the way he did to save face, because he probably don't like Teddy Atlas based off what he said previously, plenty of times before. He probably don't like him. So it was an easy window of you knowing that to say what you said and to get reaction that you did. But ultimately, what you put out there wasn't true, Blue. It wasn't fucking true, bro. I'm just saying that shit wasn't fucking true. That's all I'm saying. You know, it's not for me to figure out, brother. Real talk. It's not for me to figure out. But God damn it, it's just constant broken glass, man. Like, you know, a lot of you cats on here, you just hear shit and you become gossipers, man. You willing to go up here and gossip and you know what I'm saying? Absolutely regurgitate the wrong shit. You know what I'm saying? You would just go in here and rephrase everything that you just had to your liking, and then reciprocate it, retransmit it back out to the public, and sit back and see how people are gonna damn grab hold to it. That cameo appearance is not gonna get you to claim the fame, man. You know, it might happen on here with the gullible listeners that's on some of these freaking chats. But I'm gonna tell you, the real ones, they're gonna hold you accountable. They're gonna be like, man, hell no. No. And just think about it. This is 2023, Blue. Look how many years you have left doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Just go from 23 to the 33, 10 more years from now to 43. Just say if you have all that time to continue to go about it the same way, where is it going to get you at the end? Seriously, I mean, where is it going to get you? If you're going to continue to let's just say inflate the truth or inflate something to a lie, you know what I'm saying? Or basically distort it or manipulate what it really is to the perception of the listeners. You know what I'm saying? And you don't care how it makes you look, man. That's just fucked up. For real. It just fucked up. No matter how you look at it, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't care about how it's transmittable. You know what I'm saying? Transmissible, whatever the shit. You don't care about any of that. You just rather put it out there, and then you want to get on here and try to debate what Teddy Atlas is saying because you want him to say your name. What's wrong with y'all grown ass men? God damn, dog. This shit is crazy. High Grease comeback. I listened to the first 2 minutes. I read that. Don Vaughn on deck. What's good? Blue got a taste of his own medicine. He be on the YTC front like he doesn't know other content creators. Teddy didn't acknowledge him just like he does on the YTC with dudes. You're right, man. You know what I'm saying? You're right. And it's funny you mentioned that because when I first heard this shit, I remember, you know, I did. I remember how, okay, he's on here attempting to convince people, you know, trying to help them understand who Teddy Atlas is talking about. And Teddy said, I'm not going to give them the time of day. They're just doing it for clickbait. Da 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 da. And he said, I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy. But yes, he absolutely know who the guy is because his son wouldn't have brought him information. You know, his son wouldn't have brought him an incomplete source of information in order for him to talk about it on his show. So of course his son brought it, and you know, other people probably sent it to him, all that shit. But when it boils down to him saying he didn't know you, it pretty much was the same type of medicine that you attempted to feed the other people that you didn't know, but you knew. You see how that shit comes back around? I mean, you've guilty of the same shit. That's what I'm saying. Like the compass, those coordinates doesn't drop you off at morals and principles. That destination is out the window, man. There's no such thing as a moral compass when it comes to the YTC, man. It's crazy. You keep saying, help me out. I'm confused. I didn't play any of your audio today. I'm not. But you keep saying that over and over. Help me out. I'm confused. Yeah, you're confused because you're steadily trying to inject certain pieces. You're trying to come up with more information. You want to get a reaction from your people when you was dead ass wrong, man. You know how the New Yorkers say you dead ass, man. Real talk, you was dead ass, man. That man didn't say ever. It don't matter what the W says. Salute to you. I see you on deck. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Gumbo, aka Mr. Hot Grease on deck, man. Salute to you. Salute WCS, my big bro, Big Blunts, and the rest of the Hot Grease family. Yes, sir. And to the hottest chat in the MF and game, thank you for not being clowns. Thank you for being intelligent, adult human beings who process information as such. You know what I'm saying? Who process information as such. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to one of my colleagues today, and we was talking about Ben Davison, who's now training Anthony Joshua. I said, yeah, Toby had corrected me yesterday. It was Tyson Fury's freaking old. I thought it was Anthony Joshua. But see, that's what I like, because that means people are paying attention. They continue to educate themselves on shit. So for him to catch that fish and got there and say, no, it's this right here. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? You want people to hold you accountable for the right shit, man. To keep you informed of legitimate criteria. Blunt, if he misquoted him, his credibility as a journalist took a massive hit. Not the first person that goes in on him either. No, it's not the first. It's not the first. Blueblood's a clickbait ass clown. He changed Teddy's words. He put ever on the end of it. That's profound. You know what I'm saying? That's profound, bro. That's like, you know, you're talking about a small ass fire, and then you put ever on the end of it. You're talking about putting a stick of dynamite on there. You know what I'm saying? The whole entire level of threat has changed, bro. It's done. It's over. It's changed dramatically. We was just talking about a little ass freaking fire that's just burning. We don't have to worry about the racial, you know, the level of threat that it presents, because it's controlled. But if you go over there and drop a stick of dynamite in there, it's about to be some casualties. It's about to be some people that's affected by this. The Mexican fan base, first and foremost, Team Canelo, they're going to look at it like, okay. But the Mexican fan base is going to look at that and say, what? Teddy said what? So then they go to Teddy. And that's where this stuff gets very, very personal. Because let's just say it happened to you, Blue. Somebody said something that wasn't correct, and all these people coming at you. Now you're going to go back at the person who originally put it out there. You're going to be in the same predicament that Teddy Atlas is in right now, all because you put ever on the end of it, and he did not say that, brother. You got to be smarter than that. You know what I'm saying? You got to be smarter than that. Mr. Pat say fortulated. Hey, I'm about to call up goddamn dictionary. I'm about to call the thesaurus. I'm about to call up all of them. I say, can you add fortulated in there, please? Yes, I have the definition. I think I know what the spelling is too. Yeah. Let's put fortulated in there. Fortulated. For real. Fortulated is very important. Expert genius on deck. I see you, man. What's good? What's good? Teddy sounds pissed at WCS. Blueblood did not twist his words. At the same time, Teddy needs to understand how people act in this YTC. Well, you know, Teddy has to understand how they act, because this is not the first line of controversy that he's had to refute. You know what I'm saying? It's not the first time he had to reject some type of listener who disagrees with what he said. This is not the first time. Don't be fooled now. You know, Teddy Atlas has been around here long enough. He has close to 300,000 subs now. This is not the first time that he's been a part of something that was controversial over here. So if you're gonna have a channel on a platform like this, and you know, and Teddy Atlas may have a different freaking streaming service. Real talk, he may have a different type of streaming service because um, I definitely went over there on Social Blade and tried to look up and see, you know, to check out, you know, what his numbers was looking like, just to see if, and you can't see any of that. So he's definitely probably sponsored by somebody else, and he uses his YouTube just for display and all that. Yeah. So he's not the greatest Mexican fighter ever turned into you're the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. Pretty much, you are on point. You are lined up perfectly on that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That right there is everything. He's not the greatest Mexican fighter ever. Turned into you're the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. There's an extreme difference in separation when it comes down to it. Extreme difference now. This is extremely different when you're talking about interpretation. Splitting those two up is extremely different, man. And you have to not be so impulsive just to hurry up and run out here and say, "Oh, what do you think about Teddy Atlas?" You mentioned the name first of all. You mentioned his name, saying you're the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. Come on, man. You on here trying to explain to your people that, you know, what about what Eddie did? I mean, Teddy did. What you said this, Teddy? You said that, Teddy. No, you have to address what you said first. You're getting mad at people because they're saying, no, he didn't say that. And you're telling them, no, read in between the lines. No, there's no reading in between the lines, man. This is overkill. You said ever. That means everyone that became before Canelo Alvarez. You consider Canelo to be the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. Canelo is great, don't get me wrong, but I agree with Teddy. He's not the greatest Mexican fighter, in my opinion. I agree too. Shout out to Carlos on deck in the building. WCS salute. Hottest chat in the MF game. Salute, no doubt. Salute to you, Carlos. Appreciate you pulling up, brother. Blue has a disease for putting words in people's mouths and exaggerating. He blatantly lies on people for views and clicks, no integrity. I don't know what's going on with it, man. I don't know what type of effectiveness that he's looking to have all the time that he does that. What type of effect are you looking for? You know what I'm saying? Do you just walk around with the kerosene and you say, I'm good because I can start a small fire and I can just dump some accelerant on it. It's going to burn into something. You know, I'll make it burn into something that people pay attention to. What's next, man? I don't get it. I mean, you're doing this shit like it's Fast and the Furious. Man, you're going to crash, man. You're just going to crash. What the fuck? I can't listen to Teddy's show because he always rambles on and never get to the point. You're right, Andrew. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, Teddy has pretty much been front and center of some controversial comments. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's up here defending Teddy. I just felt like when I heard it initially on Media Week, and I heard Teddy Atlas too, and I just listened to some of the questions that was being asked. Hold on for a second. I was listening to some of the questions that was being asked on Media Week. And it's just all about, you know, certain individuals like Blue just asking controversial questions, you know, just to ping someone's attention. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's what the controversy involves. What does the controversy entails? You know what I'm saying? What does it entails? Because you got to think about it. You're not always going to get that moment to do that over and over again. because this is a full this is a social media platform. This is fully accessible to a lot of people. So just like you seen Deontay Wilder saying, "You from where again?" No, man, get out of here. These fighters, or especially at the PBC, they be holding fighters accountable. They don't want to talk. They get mad. They get sensitive. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you may get away with it for just some clicks and views, but what about looking at it for the residual effect? What about sustaining a level of professionalism and just asking questions that are pertinent in a way and doesn't have to lie heavy on controversy, on putting the fighter on the spot? What if you just look at the residual effect of that fighter or fighters looking forward to your questions and having you, just a little bit more confidential? You know what I'm saying? Looking at you as a credible media segue that they can really, give you some personal information or whatever, really, get a little bit more confidential with you, more of an intimate type of relationship when it comes to this media talk and this boxing talk. Guys don't care about that. All they care is about is going on here talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just saying stuff off the wall as if it's going to change their life. It's not going to change your life, man. I look at some of these dudes on here, they just catching up to what was going on 5 or 6 years ago. That's hilarious, man. Teddy cannot just say Canelo lost all those fights. That's subjective. He's not a boxing judge. Just say it's your opinion. I agree, Samuel. But a lot of people outside of Teddy say he lost the fights. It may not be all of them, but a lot of people say he lost to Arislan de Lara. A lot of people say he lost the first Canelo Triple G fight. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be people who look at it. And look, we can't really say this, Andrew, that he's not a judge, because some of the judges, man, come on. Come on, man. It's more than money in their pockets, man. You know what I'm saying? They have money, they have hands in their pockets, hands in their back. Judges, when it comes down to decisions that's been on record of these judges making controversial scorecards, that's never gonna stop. Because boxing is unregulated for a reason. And I say this and I say it again. It's always going to have you on the edge of your seat and hit you with that freaking mallet or that sledgehammer right in your head because of, first of all, the referee, the third man in the ring, the judges, and the commission. Boxing has too many squads or too many entities in place to fix a fight. There's just too many. There's too many entities in place. It will always be a fight that turn out opposite of what you've seen play out in front of you. Always. Why? Because they have a referee, they have the judges, and they have the commission. It's always going to be like that. Teddy just hate Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, he's always been highly critical of Canelo. Real talk. That's kind of extreme, in my opinion, to compare the Floyd loss with the Bivol loss. Two totally different parts of Canelo. I absolutely agree with that, Carlos. That's why I didn't talk too much on it, because, yes, you got to look at how he rambles about shit. You know what I'm saying? When he fought Floyd Mayweather, an experience that he had to step up and fight the second fighter at the 175-pound division. You know, a lot of people saying that would be damned to be great. But a lot of people didn't conceive Bivol as a great fighter anyway. So they were just looking at Canelo saying, okay, we've seen you do this before. You stepped up here, fought Kovalev, for one of the best Kovalev. We don't really know too much about this Bivol guy. Well, we'll see how it plays out in the ring. We'll see. And it played out to the detriment of Canelo. You know, he wasn't stopped at anything, but he was outperformed, outworked, you know what I'm saying, outclassed in that fight. But people look at it as seeing what? He moved up a higher division, heavier division, outside of the 168-pound division, and he lost. So they give him like a therapeutic exemption. We respect you for the move you made, but you came up short with the results. What else do you expect from Blue Bait? Most of the videos are clickbait. What's going on, Trap Media USA? What's good? Um, most of the videos are clickbait titles, and he has influenced others to follow in his footsteps. Look, when it was first going on, this is the way I looked at it, right? You have a lot of people that's attached to these channels that even the hosts really don't know who they are. But they from all walks of life, man. You don't know who they are. You got the ones that really support and rock with you heavy and show up to that channel just to be lied to. You know, any of these channels that stray away from the truth. If that's what they want to be told, the untruth, they want the sci-fi effect, then those people are going to continue to show up and they're going to support the channel. Look, that's just the way it is in life, man. You have individuals that saying, hey, I don't want to hear WCS try to keep that shit neutral all the time. I want to hear biasness. I want to hear somebody tell me a lie. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you like it, I love it. Some of them want to go up there and they want to be lied to, bro. They love knowing that something, they love hearing that something is absolutely 100% false. But since it gives them a bit more intrigue and climactic moment, you know what I'm saying, they would rather listen to it. But the poison of it all is that these people will go up here and tell somebody else that may be a casual boxing fan or not a boxing fan at all that same lie, and that person has now been affected by the virus. You know what I'm saying? They now are affected by the virus, bro. They now don't know any better. They don't know any better, man. And that should be rampant in the barbershops. Oh man, the barbershops, that is the freaking, oh my God. You want to talk about a nest that has been kicked out the tree so many times, man? And oh my God. Man, the shit these people say in the barbershop is, you have people coming in and they listen to YouTube and they go up here and spit this venom and they just don't know what the damage they're causing, man. They don't know any better because that's the channel they choose to go to, because they might feel that the person is popular enough for them to, you know, say their name here and there and everywhere, and they go in there and repeat the shit, and then you might have somebody in that actually know what the fuck is going on. They say, no, that's not true. That's not right, bro. Where you hear that from? Oh, it was on so and so, man. It was on YouTube. And you listen to so and so? Believe me, man. Believe me. I've been there. I've been in the barbershop with this patron. I didn't know, start talking. Then other people start talking. Then before you know it, I had to chime in. I'm just sitting there listening. I had to start chiming in and then say, well, how do you know? I say, I'm not the same way you know. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't go into detail about me having a channel and what I do. I just wanted to kick it. I just wanted to see how in depth you know about boxing. And then, wouldn't you know, they start mentioning some people that they listen to. And you know what I did, Shaw News? You know what I did? I don't know them. How long they been on there? I don't know, man. You should check them out. I say, for real, okay. You know, I was hearing some names popping. I say, now I have a clear understanding. Like, these are people that do not create content. These are people just show up to the barbershop, get their haircut. They are listeners. And the fact that they mentioned these names and they was talking this shit that don't make any sense, that is what I'm talking about. The rubber band effect. They listen to these certain people and then they go out here and they talk in these barbershops like they really know what the hell they talking about. Blue doesn't care. He likes going viral. Well, hey, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a lot of people on here. They just like the attention, man. They just like the loneliness of it. Carlos said, Shot News, Blue never had the sauce. But I heard him say it. I heard him say that today something about the sauce. I say, shit. I guess he don't know the person who said it, you know. He probably hear it all the time. Then he slips up on his live and say, "You don't have the sauce." I say, familiar territory there. Are you going to give credits or not? Oh, he doesn't give credits. Oh, I should have known. Typical. Typical. YTBC need a code of ethics. No, forget that. Forget that. Forget that. You're asking too much, man. Top Mexican fighters, in my opinion, no order. Okay. Bruce Gas Boxing Jackson Moore. What's good with it, OG? How you feeling, man? Canelo fought Billy Joe because he held the belt. Yes. If Billy Joe Saunders did not hold the belt, man, he wouldn't have came into no damn conversation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why would he want Billy Joe Saunders for, man? Come on, man. For real. What have Billy Joe Saunders done after that loss to Canelo? What has he done special that resonates to the boxing fans? Just to clarify, I call WCS Cap as short for captain, not the new meaning of cap. What, somebody said that? I mean, hey, if I would have thought that you was putting that, I mean, you know, I would have asked the question in response. What does that mean exactly? He said, "Is that Molly Nachi?" That's totally not how you spell his name. That's absolutely not how you spell his name. That is hilarious, man. Molly Nachi. Malinaji. Shit. I remember being pissed at B-Hop for that. But being the only person in the house full of Ricans, I'm going for him because I knew he would be too much for Tito. Used to have been invited back since. I haven't been invited back since. I mean, what Bernard Hopkins did was historic because for him to have the cojones to do that shit, you know, he better be glad he made it up out of there alive, man. For him to disrespect him like that. Shout out to Toby Bartlett, man, and the hottest chat on the YTC. We're global, baby. We're global. Hashtag WCS got the grease hot tonight. Yes, sir. Shout out to Toby from across the pond. Salute to the boxing fans over there, man. I see you in the building. Yes, sir. What's going on, Tommy? Man, hey, it ain't never too late. It's called replay, man. You good. Sorry for being late for the cookout. WCS had to work late. Man, you got to get that money. You got to get that money, bro. Do what you got to do. Jessica in the building. I see you on deck. Salute WCS in the chat. Salute to you. Appreciate you pulling up on deck. Mark Nash TV in the building. What's good with it, Mark? I heard Canelo say he's not the greatest Mexican. Whether he says it or not, he's not this freaking Mexican fighter ever. He's not. No way, no how. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to man himself, man, Mr. 214 IOTBA Boxing Talk in the building. What's good with it, brother? How you doing? Appreciate you pulling up. Boxing fan talk on deck. Okay. I think one of the huge topics, let me take this down now. I think one of the more bigger topics is going on, you know what I'm saying? Because this is just something that was basically filtrating out in the boxing media. You know, this is really small microcosm, real talk. You know what I'm saying? It's just internal to the YTC. And, you know, Teddy Atlas, he feels some type of way. I get it. But Teddy Atlas has been on record, has been a part of some controversial comments. But just to have somebody ask a question to Canelo and mention his name, I put it out there like, don't act like you've never been critical of Canelo, all because you have another content creator on the YTC, a platform which you use too. You utilize it. You feel some type of way about it because you feel like that person is not on your level. I get it. I get it. I get it. Teddy, I get where you feel some type of way. But furthermore, Teddy, in my opinion, not speaking for him, it seems like he feels a bit more agitated at the fact that his name was used to basically misquote him. You know what I'm saying? That's where it becomes a bigger problem. The misquote. You know, you misquoted the man, and severely at that. You said ever is just zipping it up, man. It's just zipping it up, putting a toe tag on. It's dead. You saying, hey, he's the most overrated Mexican fighter ever. That's just beyond repair to a point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would have come in here and say, okay, he didn't say ever. I don't have any audio to basically prove that he said ever. So I apologize for using that. But what I was trying to say is, based off what he mentioned about these specific fighters right here, he said that he, out of all of them, Canelo was the most overrated one out of those names. I would have respected that more than you just saying, hey, what do you think that Teddy Atlas said? You know what I'm saying? That's just fucked up. That's just fucked up. Any way you look at it, it's just fucked up. It's no excuse, man. It's just fucked up. It's never gonna stop. Never. I want to get y'all opinion on the potential numbers from this Canelo Alvarez fight in Charlo. You know, there have been rumor mills, of 500, 600. What do you think the numbers are going to be? And do the numbers have to come out a certain way to say these numbers come out? Do you believe these numbers are going to come out higher than Crawford Spence? I do. I think, these numbers have always been easily manipulated. You know what I'm saying? Because us as consumers, we really don't know if they're raw, true to life numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know how the numbers. I got people up here, talking about there was sections that was carting off. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't even, nobody wasn't sitting there in the T-Mobile Arena. So I didn't hear anybody say that about Crawford Spence fight, but I did hear them say that about Canelo Alvarez and Jamel Charlo fight. So if you had ticket sales that was for the low, you know what I'm saying, and people was giving out comp tickets or whatever the case, how they was getting people in the arena, these ticket sales shouldn't go anywhere. I mean, these pay-per-views shouldn't go anywhere close to 600. Even with Canelo, because people are going to look at it always a Mexican and black fighter. They're looking at Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. That is going to be the monetary measuring bar right there. So you take Canelo and Jamel Charlo, people are going to say, it's possible that they can do high numbers. It's possible. We don't even know if those are the raw numbers for Davis Garcia. So they looking at Canelo, being he's a cash cow. They gave the man 50 mil. They probably come out here and say some crazy shit like 1.5. No one's going to believe that shit. Not with the arena being freaking a whole section being closed off. And also, the way people was looking at this fight, that Charlo didn't have any window of opportunity to come out victorious. I want to know what those numbers looking like. Has anybody heard anything else about those numbers? Yeah, I know, right? We only go off, what they tell us and everything. I'm hearing 415K from who though? Blunts? What source did you hear that from? If y'all are putting what you heard it, Just put where was it? Twitter? What was it? IG? Was it where was it from? Shout out to Through the Lens of the Trenches. I see you in the building, brother. Salute to you. Charlo didn't hardly bring any type of audience. No, man, he didn't bring no type of audience, but he brought the freaking clown show afterwards, man. I swear to God. Anybody heard any numbers though? Blunts, where did you hear that from? Was it Twitter? Did Rick Glaser come out yet? You know, with the numbers or not? I'm about to give Rick a call, see if he came out with those numbers or not. Do he know anything? You know, I bring official sources, but Twitter floating 400, 600K. I was just asking. You said 400, 600K. So you went with the low end. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this tweet. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay. It's not that big of a deal to me. I just wanted to kind of get an idea of what the numbers was looking like because regardless, man, if these fighters getting 50, you know, Canelo getting 50 and Charlo getting 20, you talking about 70, man, what the fuck? Where did this money come from? Somebody need to, you know, I don't really give a damn where the money come from, but I'm curious to where the money came from though. I'm curious, bro. I'm curious to where that money came from. 50 million is absurd for that matchup. 50 million and Mel Charlo got 20 million. That's crazy, bro. How? Where did that money come from? How are they going to recoup that money? Did Showtime just dump the budget? Since it's the end of the year, did Showtime just dump the budget? They just say fuck it, and we give Canelo 50, and you know we're gonna have a whole new budget at the top of the year in 2024. We good. I know one thing. I want to read this to you. What Jamal Charlo said about Jamel. Jamal Charlo, who is clearly, this is no question, he's the bigger Charlo, because after the fight, Jamel say, "I'm a little Charlo. I represent that." I don't know where the fuck that came from. It sounds crazy as hell, but Jamal Charlo spoke with Boxing Scene, and this what he had to say. He said pretty much his brother fought like a champion. You know what I'm saying? Boxing Scene article says, now after watching it all play out, Charlo has found his name in headlines. The word that has been used to describe him aren't flattering either. He's been called a disgrace, a fighter who mailed it in, looked for an easy way out, and simply showed up to collect a check. Talk to him, Boxing Scene. And they're speaking about Jamel Charlo in that passage. It goes on to say Charlo hasn't said much. He's too busy trying to process what went wrong and what he could have done better. But while he's keeping a low profile nowadays, Jamal Charlo, his twin brother and current WBC middleweight titleist, took the time to defend him. His critics may disagree, but Jamal believes his twin brother shouldn't be ashamed of anything. Kudos to family love. But Jamal Charlo, as much as I like you much more than your brother when it comes to rapport, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to tact, okay, tact. That's most of the word I can use, tact. When it comes to tact, your brother's going to receive a substantial amount of criticism from today forward. A lot of people outside of black boxing fans seen him go in there and pretty much capitulate to Canelo Alvarez and genuflect. When he took that knee and bowed to Canelo Alvarez, and you know, like I said, both of these fighters received the orders because Canelo didn't go on a rampage You know what I'm saying? He didn't go on a rampage to try to get Jamel Charlo up out of there. He didn't. It wasn't anything that was suspenseful that you stood up and it chaotic, it frenetic the crowd, man. The crowd was on the edge of their seat. They were standing there, oh man, this is turned into what we believed it. No, none of that. None of that. None of that. That shit was more like an empty soda can, bro. What was in it previously was gone. You're going to get nothing out of it. It's just a can that you can pick up, kick around. It's going to make a little noise, and then you throw that bitch in the trash. That's it. No one's going to be reflecting upon this and say, you know what? Since we got all this time, you want to do some film study? Hey, let's take a look at Jamel Charlo and Canelo. No, that's the quickest way for me to leave. Let's look at a different fight. Let's look at Spence and Crawford. Okay, cool. Put it in. I like this. And matter of fact, do you still got that popcorn? Orville. Yeah, put some Orville in there. I love it. Is it the movie theater butter? Oh my God, we're good. We're good. Yes, we're here. I mean, seriously, people. Seriously, this is just unbelievable. And people ask me, okay, they'll send me stuff on my DM. They say, why don't you talk about this, and this? I do want to talk about some of this, but I just have my fancy on what route I want to take in talking about some of this information. You know what I'm saying? I know Tim Tszyu has Brian Mendoza coming up. I do. I know it. I'm going for Tim Tszyu in that fight. But both fighters are cool, with me, It is one story that I like, though, and that is where PBC is going to pick up their next network, right? So Boxing News 24, this I do like this topic. I was going all day. I was busy. But it says on Boxing News 24, it says PBC boss Al Heyman has had talks with bringing his huge stable of top-level fighters over the Amazon Prime as a part of the new broadcasting deal. Now that Showtime is expected not to renew their contract after it expires. Chris Mannix points out it's unclear at this point if Amazon Prime would be looking to be a Showtime like boxing provider, or if it's just a one-off event. Amazon has the money to afford boxing, as they're already paying huge amounts of dough for their broadcasting of NFL fights. It's important that PBC goes to a provider that isn't already occupied by another promotional company for boxing. For example, the Zone has Golden Boy Promotions and Matchroom. ESPN uses Top Rank to provide boxing. It wouldn't be a good situation for PBC to go to either of those companies, given they would be in constant competition for the dates. It goes on to say, is Amazon Prime doable for PBC? I do know the PBC has talked to Amazon. I do believe that their preferred destination. I do believe that's their preferred destination. They prefer to do a deal with Amazon, said Chris Mannix on podcast, talking about a possible destination for PBC. My take on Amazon, if they do want to get into boxing, don't do an exclusive deal with anybody. I think exclusive deals have been a major problem in boxing over the years because it has shrunk the pool for available fights and available shows. If you're Amazon, the boxing budget for the Amazon is nothing. But let's say hypothetically they're going to throw $200 million a year into boxing. That's nothing. They pay billions for Thursday night football to the NFL. If they say they have $200 million a year on boxing, hire somebody to oversee that and say, look, you're a promoter and you want to do fights on our stream service, pitch the fight. Don't give me bad fights just because we have to provide you with 10 to 12, 14 fights. That doesn't work. It's proven it doesn't work. I think Amazon has an opportunity because they can afford to throw a couple of millions at boxing and do some good things, do some big things. I love to see them try something new because they're one of the few entities out there with the budget to do that. We'll see what Amazon does in the future. I think they're a player to watch in all of this. And see, that's a big deal. And I always got to go back to this, like, why didn't the pro PBC channels, report on this this downward spiral, man, that was barreling down the atmosphere, from the stratosphere, that was going to crash in your local ocean. You know what I'm saying? Why wasn't it any other reporting on this? Because I thought that, when I always hear the PBC channels on here talk their shit, they look like, what I'm saying, they was good to go. But Showtime is bailing out. They popped the hatch and jumped out that bitch. I would think that should have been y'all focal point if y'all had the credible sources to kind of see why Showtime isn't returning to support, PBC, if they was doing all the big time fights and stuff. I know somebody mentioned that they may bloviate the numbers to basically appease Showtime, but that's not going to work. Showtime know better than that. They have some smart people over there, bro. They're not falling for that. Seriously, they're not falling for that shit. But I am curious to know, what I'm saying, what is going to be the conversation here on the YTC? Why aren't y'all trying to get together and help this situation out? I don't see any of you pro, the ones that was talking all this Top Rank Toby and the plantation and stuff like that. I mean, ESPN, they don't seem like they're leaving Top Rank anytime soon. But when it comes to PBC, this is the topic. This is a big topic, bro. They running the other way. They gone. They about to be up out of there. So now you have to go search and find a whole nother network that has the budget, to do it. And we know Amazon Prime does, but damn. Why did y'all let this shit get there? Y'all was putting too much focus on the wrong person when y'all should have been paying attention to what was going on with PBC. If y'all was going to be the pro PBC channels, you should have paid more attention to that shit. Just seen something that said Charlo got paid $3 million for the Canelo fight. Now, $3 million would be more like it, man. I don't know what something is. What is something? When y'all put that in the chat, can y'all do me a favor? I don't know what something is, man. When you say something, what is something, man? Nobody had made less than 10 mil fighting Canelo for a while now. I heard Mel cleared 20. He probably did. From where, though? Where did you hear that? Is it just Twitter? Is it boxing scene? Where did y'all hear this? Salute that MMA on deck, man. I see you. What's good? Squad Jones on deck. Where did y'all hear those numbers? I just want the numbers. What's the source of the numbers, man? I really hope that that something great comes out of this. You know what I'm saying, with PBC. I hope they're able to get something going, because I don't want them to not be a part of boxing, because that means you will have the pro PBC channels, just basically allotting all their time to speak about top ranked fighters in a bad way until the PBC comes out of the garage and hit the road again. You know what I'm saying? We need for them to stay busy. Like the Crawford shit is dying down. They're finding out that, hey, I'm spending too much time with this clown costume on, and I'm not even getting paid minimum wage. So I need to do something different. I need to focus on what was going to be the next network for PBC at the end of the day. I need to focus on that, not this other shit. Is it me, or the information is coming out with Teofimo Lopez You know what I'm saying? Supposed to fight Gervonta Davis. I heard Rick Glacier say that is fake news, but I continue to hear people attach themselves to it and put it out, even on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Even on Facebook, they saying that is false information. I would definitely like to see that fight. I'm not gonna lie. I would definitely like to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? Gervonta and Tank Davis. I mean Gervonta and Teofimo Lopez. I'd definitely like to see that fight. I'm not gonna lie. I like to see it, bro. I should have picked him. Hulu is banging it. Definitely got bread. Andrew said he hear things. Oh my God. Okay. I'll leave it at that because I do say my sources sometime, Andrew. I get it, bro. But when you hear things, man, I'm just you know, when you mention numbers like that, I mean, it takes more than just hearing things. Andrew say he hear things. It reminds me of Mikey Garcia before he was going to fight Errol. I see things. I do. I see things. What do you see, Mikey? Don't worry about that. I see things. Believe me and my brother, we see things with Errol. We see things. What do you see though? Don't worry about that. You will see it play out. And then after I tell you the things I saw, it all depends on if I win. If I don't win, I didn't see nothing. Oh, I seen it on the website. Okay. All right. The website called Celebrity Net Worth that broke down Jamel's net worth and what he made for the Canelo fight. Okay. I got you. I got you. Still, it's a bit fragile for me to deal with it. It's a bit fragile. I really don't want to deal with the Humpty Dumpty effect. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, you know, think that we're dealing with some solid information that got some cracks in it, and then salmonella sets in, the yolk all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I got to get some. I got to get some more sources of information. But I'm not saying y'all are incorrect. Okay, I'm just saying, if is the updates any better than what I've already heard? That's all I'm saying. Are the updates any better than what I already heard? And I'm not able to get any other updates. You know what I'm saying? But Andrew said, I hear things. That's funny as hell. Man, don't worry about what I got. I hear things, nigga. Shit, I hear things, man. But we're talking about sources. We're talking about validate. Man, I hear things, bro. But give me a location, man. My ears, man. I hear things, dog. So is this something that you got planned in your head, or something that you hear from the outside that your ears picked up? You got the audible. You archived it. Man, I hear shit, bro. Don't ask me how I hear it. I hear it. I do. I hear it. Don't ask me all those other questions, man. We need to get together and get this dude Diddy out here. Straight up playing. We'll fight his career right now. Well, we're not going to be able to get Diddy up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Diddy, you know, you already got Anthony Joshua training with Ben Davison. Obviously, that's going to be the person that's training him for his next fight. Ryan Garcia has been sighted in Vegas with Floyd. It didn't take him long to smell the pine oil that was on the freaking shellacking that was on the freaking furniture. You know what I'm saying? He didn't like that smell too much. Errol Spence, we already know what happened to him. Charlo, man, I'm telling you. You know, people think I'm just, you know, talking. They don't want to talk about it, man. Okay. Let's see if Diddy James do another fight. You know, let's see what plays out in upcoming months. Let's see. I want to see the pictures. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the pictures, man. I want to see Frank Martin. Come on, Frank. If Spence is leaving, you better make sure you there too, goddammit. You better not dare stay in that goddamn furniture store and Spence is your promoter. If Spence tell you, hey man, you'll be all right, stay right here, you better run like hell, goddammit. You're gonna be on the shelf for a little bit. But if Spence say, hey man, just stay right here, man. I'll be back in periodically, check in on you and stuff like that. But man, stay around with Diddy, man. You know what I'm saying? Let him teach you how to dance or beat the two. You know what I'm saying? It's healthy, bro. He gonna introduce you to some a lot of other hip hop stars and shit, a lot of singers, you know, performers and all that. Hey, man, learn how to do that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to dance. Goddamn, Vasil Lomachenko, his dad put him in dance. This your dance class, man. You learning from the best. Diddy James, bitch. Barb Aaron said T.O. next fight is Ryan Garcia. Okay. I like that fight too. I like that fight too. It wasn't hallucination. I'll look it up in a second. Nobody can possibly know at this point, but I'm positive he most definitely cleared 10. Okay. That's good money. I was thinking more so 3 million, but you know, like they said, when you find Canelo, you getting paid a pretty good penny. So if it's 10, I ain't mad at whatever money Jamel is getting. I'm not mad at all. I'm just disappointed at his performance. That's all. I just think his performance was aka landfill for real. I think his performance wasn't even honorable mention at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call it trash. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call it trash. Because trash, when you think of trash, you think about the smell of it and you know, and the residue that comes with trash. That Jamel walked up in there, he barely even broke a sweat. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like he was going to get fitted for a tux. That dude walked in there the way he came out there the way he walked in. Not a scratch on him, Shawty. Not a scratch on his motherfucking ass, man. He was good. You know what I'm saying? Not a scratch on him. You know what I'm saying? Mel probably went back there. They had the shower run. And he just stepped in that motherfucker, you know, made a couple of moves, dipped out, dried up, got dressed, headed out, man. He said, man, I'm looking good. Look, I got a scratch on in my face. Good. Oh, okay, cool. Man, he didn't get shit. There wasn't shit wrong with him, dog. Nothing. Dude was on point, man. I got T.O. in really any fight he takes at all. Yeah, T.O. my guy. I got him. I got him in there, especially with Ryan Garcia, bro. Especially against Ryan Garcia. Oh, my bad. It says DraftKings says that Mel made 1.5 guaranteed and 40% pay-per-view buys estimated him to make 6 million altogether when it's said and done. See through the lens, you prove my point on quality over quantity. You know what I'm saying? I don't really deal with those numbers when it comes to fighters, but I can take that for what it is. You say DraftKings, then I have something to look up and educate myself with when I get off this month. You know what I'm saying? I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? So if he got 5 guarantee, yeah, that sounds more than people just 20 mil, 20 mil, 20 mil. Yeah, 20 mil it was 20 mil. Do you think he made 19? No, 20 mil. Do you think he made 20 mil? I said 20 mil. I don't like repeating myself. 20 mil. So it's no way that he made 19 million, 20 mil. I'm just saying, where did the 20 mil come from, dog? That sounds more like it. You know what I'm saying? The 1.5, 40% pay-per-view. So we talking about 60-40 split. You know, shit. Man, as a Jamel fan, we all disappointed in that performance. It's like we never got to see bro fight. I mean, we seen him fight in you know, other competition, but you know, we wanted to see him fight against the top level opposition like Canelo Alvarez, and he just didn't demonstrate that he was there for that. You know what I'm saying? Jamel Charlo showed us he wasn't there for that moment. I explained to people. I say his mentality. When you got that mentality, I've seen it before. When you have that mentality that you're not accepting all challenges, somebody is Crawford. You don't want to accept. Oh, leave us alone. This and that. You know, I was looking at the Brian Custer Last Stand that Jamel Charlo did a quite couple. Let me see. Was it last year or something like that? how he was talking. You know, he just didn't want to acknowledge Crawford. He didn't want to really put him into the pole position to say, you know, that's who I want to go up and compete against next. I want to do Crawford. He was never giving him the indication. He was up here saying dumb shit like, you know, leave us alone at the end, you know, prior to going. And then after the fight, you want to say, I want to fight Crawford. I know he in the, oh, that's just whack. That was whack. I haven't used whack in a long. That shit was wickety whack. That shit was super whack, dog. We don't want to hear you continue to walk around here and clout chase Crawford's name based off that performance. You know, you need to go to Twitter. You know, Blunt. You may need to send some Twitter flares up there and goddamn at Jamel Charlo so he won't say Crawford name anymore. Crawford sent them tweets out there. He made it perfectly clear. You're not on my hit list no more. He used words sad and ashamed. He used words sad and ashamed to you, Jamel Charlo. So we're going to let that go. We're going to let that go. But I appreciate y'all for pulling up. It's been over 2 hours. I ain't going to lie. I might be back on later, but I'm done with this particular live stream. You know what I'm saying? I try to keep it to a minimum. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to do. I want to keep it to a minimum. But y'all hold it down, man. Big shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game, A-side. You already know. Y'all hold it down. Like, share, and sub. If you choose to donate to the channel. See, I put it in at the end. There goes the Cash App if you choose to do so. I appreciate y'all. We should do it again. Out.
Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss. Now you counting stars. Should've practiced more. Should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports.